At what point should a Christian involved in a dialogue with somebody else about their convictions gracefully end the conversation? It seems, even in my own experience, and I'm sure in yours, that some conversations just go too long. And we end up pushing, and there is discomfort, and people are upset, and when we're all done, we think, I wish I would have shut my mouth sooner. Well, that might be a good principle to consider. Maybe less is more. And certainly when it comes to my approach to tactics, I have been very public about my own individual goal. It isn't to lead someone to Christ. It isn't necessarily to get to the foot of the cross. I don't feel under the compulsion to cover all the ground in every conversation, and therefore I found myself more and more relaxing a bit in conversations and probing and listening more and talking less. I can think of some recent conversations on airplanes where that was especially fruitful. If you find yourself getting to the point where there's a lot of tension in the conversation, you've probably gone too far. And I would suggest finding a way to, once you feel that tension, there are some exceptions to this maybe, but as a general rule, when you feel that tension getting strong and there's a lot of resistance, especially if you feel you've said something of substance, it might be a good idea to ask a question that takes the conversation in a different direction. How about them Yankees? Or something like that. So, at least for the moment, to move the conversation away from what is difficult, and then you might bring it back. Look at this. I wanted to ask another question about that prior conversation that we had, kind of thing, and that might be at the same setting or some other time. But this is a judgment call that you have to make. I suggest that you toss up a prayer, and I do that frequently. It's Peter's prayer when he was trying to walk on the water. Lord Jesus, save me. Something along that line. Help. One word prayer. So that God will give you insight as to how you might best navigate that conversation. And then make your best judgment. If you get to the point of bickering, and if you feel that you're speaking a lot while the other person is in resistance, the likelihood is they're not listening very much. So it might be good just to back off and mellow out and not bruise the fruit, as it were. My suspicion for most of you listening to this, watching this, who consider yourselves on the edge, cutting edge, if you were, you're out there evangelizing a lot, you might do well to be a little less aggressive. Doesn't mean you don't take as many opportunities, but you say a little less in the opportunities you take. For those of you who are sitting on the sidelines, you probably need to be a little bit more aggressive. Use your Columbo questions to get into play and see what happens.